How are we doing today? I want to bring a space to talk about becoming who you are. I heard a quote just now. You can't be who you want to be and who you currently are at the same time. You can't be who you want to be and who you currently are at the same time. And that was very powerful when I heard it. It struck me, and it made me go into a little bit of a journaling practice to get some of these thoughts out, because as I'm experiencing on my journey of life is that the habits that condition my life to be a certain way, those didn't translate over when I shifted my energy. And when my energy changed, my habits changed, and my overall being and overall 24 hours, like how I spent my day, changed given the state that I was in. So I just wanted to take a little bit of space to break down. I guess first step is, how do you identify who you want to be? Because that was a point that I was stuck at, and I'm grateful to have found out of that. So first, identify who you want to be. Second, then we want to at least be able to bridge who we currently are and who we want to be, holding space and patience. It could be difficult, but I think ultimately finding how to live through your consciousness and be congruent with, this is who I want to be and this is who I am, aligning those is the true way to finding fulfillment and being energetically as congruent as we can be. So let's break into it. How do you define who it is that you want to be? Early in my practice, with help of a coach that I had at the time, we outlined the things that I wanted to become. Ultimately, not that I wasn't it, but I just wasn't living it, or wasn't actively being that. So say I wanted to, have an athletic build, and my mobility was increased. You can't achieve that by sitting on the couch playing video games. You know what I mean? So, if you haven't identified what it is that you want, maybe you want like the athletic build, maybe you want something professionally, maybe you see somebody that in conversation they're very calm and they're very suave in how they speak. These are all different things that you can respect and likely source it from the outside. But a funny trap that our mind plays is, instead of comparing to them, we turn that comparison into admiration. And we're like, oh, I admire how that person XYZ. I respect how that person holds themselves. I respect how that person operates and shows up for themselves. So I guess within step one, identify through seeing what it is that you admire and respect in other people. Once you have a vision, and this can be admiration from, like, we're flooded with things on social media, and I'm not an advocate for scrolling on social media, but I'm not going to say we don't do it. Like, I watch other creators, and that's where I gain inspiration. So using others as a source of inspiration rather than comparison, to understand what you want from yourself. So then I think writing is very important. So if you, as detailed as you can get, you're going to want to write down what it is that you're stepping into, what it is that you want to become, the highest version of yourself that you could see. And this is a fun practice. Like, I've done many renditions of this, maybe 7 now, over the past 2 years, 3 years. And I love doing these practices because it allows my mind to be curious, and it shatters any limiting beliefs I have on myself, because you want to dream big. Like, You always want to push yourself past the moment where you are now. You want to feel uncomfortable writing that out. Like, wow, can I really do that? Because you can. At least that version of you can. And that's what this is all about, is understanding how to adjust who you are today to become who you want to be tomorrow. So write out the craziest version you can of yourself and really like dream big there. After you have this vision, then it's about becoming those things, how your higher self feels, what your higher self does on a day-to-day, how they sound, how they feel, what they think, like what goes through their head. Is it purpose? Is it peace? Is it joy? You want to really identify these states of being and attach to those. So then, if we have written form or a vision board or whatever, if we have some type of reference for how we can see we want to act, then it's a little bit of reverse engineering to be like, okay, if this is where I'm going, this is where I am, you can easily see which, and it takes some looking in the mirror and like introspection, but I can imagine if you're watching this, then you're familiar with being introspective. But once you have the vision and you have your current, then you can see what, especially habits, align, what you don't do currently that your future self does. And then it's just kind of plug and play. Like I have a practice that I do it where I write down 5 things every day that I need to do. And these 5 things are sourced from my highest self. These are congruent with how my highest self lives. And they're anything, like very, very much so based on different facets of my highest self. So like here, I meditate and I do my breath work. I go to the gym. I go on my morning walks. I speak with my people. Like I have as something as like speak with my mom today, like things like that. But whatever your higher self does to become your higher self, it's as simple as becoming your higher self. So doing the habits that make them them, and fill your 24 hours currently with what they do. And for compounding efforts, like maybe something like the gym, or kind of everything's compounding, I guess, but maybe a meditation. Start where it's a point where you can achieve it. Because I think successfully living as your higher self and being able to do that consistently and increase the effort of each time, that is more important than feeling it one time and then not being able to sustain it. Because your higher self is sustainable. You living in your higher self, you don't, that's not just one moment, that's a moment of existence. Like that's a period of existence. So start to attach those habits with your day-to-day. And I'm not saying completely erase everything that you currently are, but adapt, start to feel how it feels to live as your higher self. And then realistically, if you're doing the habits that your higher self does and you're putting yourself in that energy, it will be a matter of time and consistency before you feel different. You can confidently look back, especially if you're adding like a journaling practice, you can confidently look back and be like, wow, I'm living this, I am this. Because this process with time and consistency, it is about going from desire, wanting to be something, to feeling that transition into being, I am, a wholeness, and ultimately, again, the congruence of consciousness. You are who you feel you are at your consciousness level, and that has great power.